Lure Parts Online is proud to offer their largemouth bass and their smallmouth bass jig assembly kits. I'm going to show you everything that's included in both kits and how easy they are to assemble. Our largemouth bass jig assembly kit comes with everything you see here, including jig heads in our most popular shapes and sizes, enough to make 5 jigs and 3/8 ounce and 5 jigs and ½ ounce. Our smallmouth bass jig assembly kit comes with everything you see here, enough to build 5 jigs and 3/16 ounce and 5 jigs and 3/8 ounce. Also included are our fine cut skirts as well as our skinny skirts. Jig assembly is extremely simple and no tools are required. I'm going to assemble one jig from each kit to show you how easy it is and give you a couple cool tips to make your jig fishing even more successful. Assembling a largemouth bass jig is easy. Before I take the skirt and put it on the jig, I'm going to take one of the Lure Parts Online flavor sticks. And I use this occasionally from time to time to scent plastics. So right now I am just going to take it, and it's like a chapstick, and I am going to put it on the collar of the bass jig. This will do two things. One, it will help the skirt to go on easier, and two, now you've just scented your jig. So now that that's on there, now I'm going to take the long end of the skirt and I'm going to flare it out. I'm going to take the point of the hook and comb out the strands to just try to make them as even as I possibly can and get it where I think it's going to look good on the jig. Then I'm just going to take the hook of the jig and I'm going to stick it right through the center of the collar and just push it up on the jig, just like that. And there you go. That's how easy it is to make a jig, and now you've also got a scented skirt on the jig as well. The largemouth bass jig assembly kits also come with rattles, and they are easy to install on the skirt. Every skirt comes with a rattle collar, and you'll see 2 holes that are right here. Those rubber holes are what is going to hold the rattle. So I simply take one of those holes, put it up against my thumb, take the jig rattle, and then I push it up against that. There you go. Now you've got a rattle on your jig skirt. Here are 2 more tips to make your jig fishing successful. Now, if I want the skirt on my jig to flare out more, I am simply going to push the skirt together like so. Then I'm going to take a scissors and I am going to cut the skirt just below the bend in the hook. Now, when my jig hits the bottom, it's going to flare out more, and now I have a more compact jig that is not only accessible to big fish, but more fish as well. Now, here is the second tip. Right now, where the weed guard is, it's fine, but what I'm going to do on the hook of the jig is I'm going to take a long nose pliers, and I am just going to slightly bend the hook up, just a little bit. Just a little bit. You want that angle going from here to here. That's it. Once that angle is there, now when you set the hook, the jig will actually contact the fish and get stuck farther back in the bass's mouth for a more positive hook set. Assembling a smallmouth bass jig is exactly the same as a largemouth bass jig. In the smallmouth bass jig assembly kit, there are 2 different types of skirts to choose from, the skinny skirt and the fine cut skirt. Now for the fine cut skirt, that's what I'm going to use most of the time on my smallmouth bass jig. However, if I'm faced with extremely clear water and I want more of a subtle presentation, then I'm going to go with the skinny skirt. But to assemble it, I'm still going to use the flavor stick and put it on the collar of the jig, just like I did on the largemouth bass skirt. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the hook. I'm going to take it and I am going to comb out the skirt using the long end of the skirt on either one. And I'm just going to comb out the strands a little bit just to try to make it even as I can. And then I'm going to insert the hook through the collar and then simply push it up over the keeper. There. Now, once that's on there, there you have That is one beautiful looking smallmouth bass jig. The lure parts online, largemouth bass and smallmouth bass jig assembly kits, make it extremely easy for you to mix and match and build lures that are either hard to find or that you won't be able to find in a store. And trust me on this, when you start building your own lures, you will start paying more attention to what those lures do and what they are capable of. That alone will make you a much more successful angler. Thank you for choosing Lure Parts Online.